भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। Hari Om, salutations to all. Welcome back to our satsangs on Srimad Bhagavatam. We had just started Canto 7 and in two classes we had to stop. So I am going to do a quick summary of this Canto 7. So we find that the topics which are arranged in Srimad Bhagavatam, after the Adhikari Skanda, we have Sadhana Skanda. First chapter is Adhikari Skanda, second chapter is Sadhana Skanda. Skanda means a canto actually, not chapter. So canto. First canto is Adhikari, about Parikshit Maharaj. Second canto is about the sadhana. And then we find 10 topics which are covered. Sarga, Visarga, Sthanam, Poshanam, Utayaha, like that 10 topics are there in each of the skandhas, broadly. Each skandha has many other aspects also, but broadly these 10 topics are covered. Sarga is primary creation. Visarga is the primary creation is creation of Mahavishnu, Narayana himself. Secondary creation is what Brahmaji creates. Sarga, Visarga, Sthanam. Where is this whole creation sustained? What is the substratum? Then we have Poshanam, nourishment. So these were 6 cantos. The 7th canto is Utayaha. So Uti also means karma. Uti also means, the analogy given is like the spider spins the whole web from its own saliva and lives in that. In that way the whole Srishti is brought out by the divine. But we forget that. So we identify with the BMI and become jivas, and then we are caught in the web of our karma. So the 7th canto is divided into 3 parts, 15 chapters 7th canto has, and 3 parts of 5 chapters each. And these 3 parts are divided into via the division of 3 parts. So first 5 chapters are about the Rakshasa Vasanas. So our Vasanas create our desires, thoughts, and then we act accordingly, and then those actions give us results, and we are then bound by those results, create further Vasanas. So this is a vicious cycle. So the Asuri Vasanas, Shishupal, Dantavakra, Hiranyakashipu, these are all explained 5 chapters. Then Daivi Vasanas are explained through Prahladji. The beautiful Charitra Prahladji and the Stuti of Prahladji when Narsimha Bhagavan takes avatar. Then we have Manushya Vasana. So Asuri Vasana first 5 chapters, Daivi Vasanas next 5 chapters, and Manushya Vasanas through Yudhishthir's character. and other related stories. So there is a division of 15 chapters. Now if you remember, in the Canto 6, Bhagwan had killed Vritrasura. And so this Canto 7 begins with this question of Parikshit Raja. To Shukdev ji, a very nice question that he asks, where he says that Samapriya Suhrid Brahman Bhutanam Bhagavan Swayam Indrasyarthe Katham Daityan Avadhi Dvishamo Yatha. That Bhagwan is supposed to be equanimous. There is no favoritism in Bhagwan. Nobody is extremely dear and nobody towards whom Bhagwan has aversion. Bhagwan only sees everyone with the same bhav, equanimity, and treats them appropriately. So why did Bhagwan take the side of Indra, and why did he kill Vritrasura? This is a question. And he says that Bhagwan is of the nature of absolute bliss. Somebody who is a jiva, feels limited, will have raga and dvesha, so will run towards whatever one likes to get happiness, will run away from something that one doesn't like to avoid pain. Why did Bhagwan, who is of the nature of Purnata, take the side of Indra and kill Vritrasura? So he says that this is a doubt that has come in my mind, and I am doubting Bhagwan's, what he says here, Narayana Gunan Prati Samshayaha. I have doubt about the gunas of Narayana. Sumahan Jatas Tad Bhavan Chetum Arhati. So this doubt has risen. Now please you remove this doubt. This is natural when we think about it, even in the world today. One may wonder why some people are progressing, why some people are suffering, why there is, it appears as though Bhagwan is not there with some people. They are going through so many difficulties, challenges, suffering, problems. And it appears that some people, Bhagwan is there with them. So where is this impartiality? Everybody says Bhagwan is equal to all, loves everybody, it doesn't do partiality. But we see so much of apparent contradiction. So Parikshit Maharaj asked that very same question, and so Shukdev ji, he asked this to Shukdev ji. So Shukdev ji is happy in that sense that a good question has been asked, and Parikshit ji has asked this for the well-being of everybody. So he says that you have asked a question relating to the wonderful and the most sacred story of Hari, Yad Bhagavatam Mahatmyam Bhagavad Bhaktir Vardhanam. So he answers saying that partiality of Bhagwan is not, apparent partiality of Bhagwan is not because of Bhagwan, it is because of the Bhakta. To bring out the glory of the Bhakta and Bhakti, these things are used. It is not that Bhagwan is hating somebody and being more kind and compassionate towards somebody. He will give the logic also. That reasoning will come next, but the first point he says is Sadhu Prishtam Maharaja Hares Charitam Adbhutam, that the quality of Bhagwan, his character, his values are most divine, wonderful. And Yad Bhagavata Mahatmyam, This is to bring out the glory of the Bhagavata. Bhagavata doesn't mean book here. Bhagavata means that Bhakta who is living the dharma of complete Sharanagati. That Bhakta is called Bhagavatam. Bhagavata. When we say Srimad Bhagavata Mahapurana, so one meaning of that word is also that Mahapuran which is describing the glories of the great Bhaktas of Bhagavan. They are called Bhagavatas. And of all the Bhagavatas, Prahlad ji is the supreme. Anyway, we will come to Prahlad ji, but my point is that the reply that Shukdev ji gives is a reply where he says that this apparent partiality is not because Bhagavan wants to be partial, but using that, because if everything is equanimous, equal, then there is nothing possible at all. Because the creation comes when there is Vishamata. When there is Samata, there is no creation. Like in our deep sleep, the three gunas are unmanifest. Mind is unmanifest, sorry. Our mind is unmanifest. So there is no experience of the world, of duality, nothing. The moment, when we take it at the creation level, the moment three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas are in imbalance, then only srishti will happen and the sankalpa will create that imbalance. Let there be many. That kind of a sankalpa, or let me create. Saikshata lokanna sraja iti, or ekoham bahusyama, like that. Sankalpa of Bhagavan, let me become many. And the creation manifests. In that then all the play of the gunas etc. will happen. And there what is the glory of the Bhakta? That how does Bhakta transcend the pairs of opposites, difficulties, challenges in the same samsara where we are living and come to discover oneness with Bhagavan. And how did that Bhakta do? On the basis of bhakti. So he says here that Yad Bhagavata Mahatmyam Bhagavad Bhakti Vardhanam, and it will enhance, increase the bhakti. If you remember the beginning of Bhagavatam, Bhakti Mata is young and this Jnana and Vairagya become old. So Narad ji is narrating this Bhagavatam to Bhakti Mata, in which he is telling about what Shukdev ji told Parikshit. So that Bhagavatam is meant for what? To strengthen Jnana and Vairagya as well as for Bhakti, the Bhakti Vardhanam. So Bhagavan does this Leelas for people to be able to recognize the glory of the Bhakta and see that how difficult situation the Bhakta has gone through. Yet each of those situations have made the faith only stronger in the existence of Bhagavan, as well as the bhakti for Bhagavan has become more and more deeper. So he says that Bhagavan doesn't like to do his nature, he is anyway beyond all this and is Paripurnam. But he does this choosing as though. So Sattva Guna and Punya Karma, those who have done, he will choose that side because that is the path to exit from bondage. We will see as we go along. So Giyate Paramam Punyam Rishibhir Naradadibhi Natva Krishnaya Munaye Kathayishye Hare Katham. Now Krishnaya Munaye means what? Having saluted Krishna Muni. Krishna Muni is Bhagavan Vedavyasa. He was born in a dweep called, he was born on a dweep called Krishna. So he was named Krishna. And his other name is Dvaipayana. When he compiled the Vedas, then he was given the name Vedavyasa. But otherwise his original name is Krishna Dvaipayan. Now, Shukdev ji says, I prostrate to Vedavyas ji, and now I tell you the story of Hari. And what is that? It is supremely meritorious, Paramam Punyam, and it has been sung by great rishis like Naradji, etc. also. So that very knowledge that I have taken, I have got from my father, I am going to share it with you. And so he says that Bhagavan is Nirguna. Nirgunopi hi ajo avyakto Bhagavan prakrite paraha. Bhagavan is Nirguna, beyond the gunas, and unborn, ajaha, avyaktaha, unmanifest, meaning not perceptible to the senses. And who is he? Prakrite paraha, beyond the duality of Prakriti. Prakriti means Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. That's why it is duality. Nature of Prakriti is Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. And that Prakriti is the power of Bhagavan only. It is not some independent power. Swa Maya Gunam Avishya Badhya Badhagatam Gataha. That infinite consciousness enlivening Prakriti as though has entered into the duality, and now based on the three gunas, this bhav has come of Badhya and Badhaka. So, what does that mean? Badhya Badhaka in the context means that somebody who has done something wrong, Bhagavan only is that entity also, and Bhagavan only is the one who is punishing. If we have that bhav, then we realize oneness with Bhagavan. That is the absolute level of seeing oneness in everything, irrespective of the gunas. So one will see the same truth, like how Prahlad ji is saying, same Bhagavan Vishnu is there even in Hiranyakashipu. He is not seeing that this person is wicked, so he is not having fear. At the same time, you will see, he will explain to his father also what is to be done, how to worship Vishnu, why bhakti is important, all that he will tell. But internally his bhav is oneness, he is seeing only oneness. That is the highest level. If I can't see that highest level, that go beyond Prakriti and see Vishnu, or see that one supreme consciousness pervading everything, then one level below is choose the path of dharma and follow that path of dharma and surrender to Bhagavan and go away from the path of adharma. And if it is your duty, suppose you are a policeman or any army person or anyone, then you have to punish somebody, court, judge, whatever, parent, anyone. Where one has to punish somebody who has done wrong, then one has to do that without trying to escape from it, but with the clarity that this is my role, I am doing it as a duty, dedicating it to God. Then bhakti will increase. So he says that Bhagavan only has entered into all this, and now he has assumed various roles. Sattvam, Rajas, Tamaiti, Prakritir, Natmano, Gunaha. These three gunas belong to Prakriti, not to Atma. Atma is untouched, unaffected, uninvolved witness, observer. Body, mind, intellect, they will keep doing as per the play of the three gunas. The witness in us remains untouched. To come to that only, all this is there. Bhakti, Sharanagati, all that. So he says, Natesham Yugapad Rajan Hrasa Ullasa Evava. So in this supreme consciousness, there is no up and down, there is no Hrasa and Ullasa, great excitement and great sorrow. That is not there in this. If it is there, where? In the play of the three gunas, all this is there. And so, having said that, Jaya Kale tu Sattvasya Devarshin Rajaso Asuran Tamaso Yaksha Rakshamsi Tatkala anuguno abhajat. So he says Bhagavan only as per his will takes up a particular guna. So when he wants to create the Srishti, then he will take the help of Rajoguna, create the Srishti. When Srishti has been created, it has to be sustained. Then with the help of Sattva Guna, he will sustain the Srishti. And when time comes to do Samhara, he will use Tamo Guna and do Samhara. Same, so one model will say that Mahavishnu is the one who is creating, sustaining and destroying. By his will this is happening. Other will say yes, he have appointed, so Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, for every Brahmanda there is one Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, they will create, sustain, destroy. Mahavishnu is the infinite consciousness in whose every pore is one Brahmanda. Each Brahmanda is Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. So like that there are different ways. The point to understand is there is one truth which is untouched, unaffected, and that is our true nature. That one should not forget. Here anyway the process is being explained that Bhagavan will nurture, nourish. So he says Rishis, Devatas, all these, Sattva Pradhan. Then Rajaso Asuran, Asuras are Rajogun Pradhan. And Yaksha, Raksha, Yakshaks and all these other subtler beings, Rakshasas, etc., they are Tamoguna Pradhan. So he only has become all this. Then Jyotiradivri Bhavati Sanghatanna Vivichyate Vidantyatmanam Atmastham Mathitva Kavayo Antataha. So then he says, like the fire and the other elements, they appear undifferentiated. They are actually undifferentiated, but they appear as differentiated because of diverse media. So suppose there is light, just an example. It is one, but you put one prism, it will appear as so many. Wave, so many waves are there, so it appears that water has divided into so many waves, but it is undifferentiated actually. The essence remains one. Names and forms keep on changing. So in that way, here says that Bhagavan is one, but associated with various upadhis appears as so many, and that variety is because of the three gunas. Now he says that even though there is a variety, Bhagavan only has become all this, but in this the Lord appears endowed with various forms, yet he is not distinguished from the psychophysical organism, meaning the Atma is one only in all, and that what we think I am individual, separate, and I am separate from God, and then there is a creation apart from me, that is the play of this Maya. Otherwise our true nature is we are always one with Bhagavan, even while going through all this. Like the waker is always one with the dream character in the dream world, meaning the dream character in the dream world, not only one character, every entity in the dream world, all characters, jivas, beings, plant, bird, animal, everything, mountain, hill, river, inert, sentient, is all one with the waker at all times. Only thing is that dream characters don't know that. So they think that they are that character only, then the dream world is different, the dream creator is somebody else. That is a play of illusion. When that person wakes up, one realizes, everything was my mind only, it was nothing apart from my mind. So in that way he says here that though appear endowed with various forms and shapes, etc., he is only one. And only the one who has Viveka will be able to clearly segregate that this is the changeless Sakshi, this is the Atma which is Not outside, huh? Inside. One has to do that within. So that's why the study of scriptures, etc., one has to do, purify the mind, turn within, clearly discriminate that there is one witness in me that remains unaffected, BMI goes on changing, they are able to turn within. Avrita Chakshu it is called in the Kathopanishad. Avrita Chakshu Amritatvam Icchan. Few people will be able to do that. Kaschid Dhira Pratyagatmanam Aichat. That one rare individual who wants to know who am I truly, how am I one with the divine truly, that person has searched outside enough and more understood it is not there outside. Permanent happiness is not there outside. It is only my nature. It is not outside, meaning not only outside the body. It is beyond Atma, anything is outside. Ego, buddhi, mind, intellect, whatever we call it. Buddhi is intellect. So ego, buddhi, mana, prana, indriya, vishaya, all is outside. Outside in Vedanta means that, actually. For us, our definition of outside is only what I see outside the, the senses. Beyond the body is outside. No. Other than I, idam, other than aham, whatever is idam is other than me. It is outside. Which means what? I have to turn within, withdraw from all these, come to abide. Then I realize, oh, I am already one with it. Few people are able to do. But this whole process and all this lila and creation is mainly for that, to make us get vairagya from the world outside, to get us bhakti, to surrender to the divine, and finally to turn within, to contemplate and realize that I and the divine are already one. So he says that few people, only the discerning, that are eventually able to realize. Kavayo antataha. Kavayo means that. Kavi doesn't mean poet here. Kavayo means the viveki, krantadarshi, who is able to segregate real and unreal. He says very few people will be able to do this, to realize the self dwelling in their own heart after carefully investigating it. Now, he says that when Bhagavan is creating various bodies, then by the power of his Maya, Rajoguna, he makes the creation, very keen to sport amidst the whole duality that he only is appearing as. So when somebody says कि अरे भगवान की लीला है और हम फंस गए और हम यहाँ पर पिस रहे हैं, he only has become all this. We don't have a separate independent existence apart from him. It's not that he's sitting up there, he has thrown us and now he's watching, अच्छा अब तुम करो, and now I'll punish you, now I'll put you into hell, now I'll put you into heaven. He only has become all this. This Taittiriya Upanishad says that is called Pravesha Shruti. Tat Srishtva Tadeva Anupravishat. Having created this Srishti, he only entered into it. Enter doesn't mean he is separate from what he created and now actually he entered. It's not like we entering into some room. The room is already there and now I entered the room. He only appearing as this. So anyway, the point is that Bhagavan only because of Rajas, he makes this whole Srishti happen and then he becomes all this. He only is wanting to go through all this. And then with Sattva he sustains, and when he says the bus of enough for today, I'm going to sleep, so he retires, he withdraws everything into himself. Tamo guna he uses. Now, Bhagavan, who is Purusha, using his Prakriti, 3 gunas, creates this whole Srishti. With Srishti, what is born is time, Samay. Kalam charantam srijatisha ashrayam pradhana ubhyam naradeva satyakrit. So, Bhagavan only creates this time, and that time is the nature of this Srishti. And that time is supported by what? Purusha and Prakriti. Now that which goes beyond, that which goes by the name of time, fosters the element of Sattva. Hence Bhagavan too enjoys glory, fame, fosters as it were the host of gods as their friend and exterminates their enemies. So Kala here also means dharma. We should remember that. Kala doesn't mean only time in terms of chronological time, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Kala means death. Kala also means dharma, in the sense that at the right time the jiva gets the proper karma phala, what that jiva deserves, as per the intent of that jiva. And Bhagavan is the karma phala data. So by saying Kala, that is what is meant here, that he only gives the karma phala, so he chooses the one who lives in Sattva Guna is as though preferred, because through that one can realize the eternal. This what we saw, na, that few people are able to turn within. Why are they able to turn within? Why are others not able to turn? It is not because some God is sitting up there and now he is saying, now you are eligible to be a seeker because you are coming to my temple every day. You people are rejecting me, so you are not allowed to be seekers. There is not some raga and dvesha happening. Manushya Janma has free will. And in that free will, one can choose to increase Sattva Guna or increase Rajas and Tamas. In this, Rajas and Tamas will bind. Few people who have been through that process, understood its limitation of Rajas, Tamas, have started cultivating more Sattva Guna, then they are able to turn within. And they will find the exit also. And also we see another point that Shukdev ji made here is that creation is sustained by Sattva Guna. This is very unique. Majority always think that creation is sustained by Rajoguna. Rajoguna initiated the creation as per Bhagavatam. Sattva Guna sustains. So Brahmaji is symbol of Rajas, Vishnu Bhagwan is symbol of Sattva, and Mahesh is symbol of Tamas, to destroy. So what sustains is Sattva Guna. Even if you see in the world, when one wants to achieve something, no doubt one has to become dynamic, but one must have that temperament to be persistent. Sattva Guna means not to give up, to be equanimous, to persist, to work hard, to be focused, to gain the right knowledge, to do the abhyasa. All that is Sattva Guna only. Rajoguna is this attachment, greed, or restlessness. No doubt one part of Rajoguna is goodness, is work, dynamism, activity. That is important. But it should be backed by this right knowledge, right attitude, understanding, practice, persistence. All these are sattvic qualities. So he says this Sattva Guna, Bhagavan chooses. See the 11th verse, he says that. Saesha Rajan apikala ishita Sattvam suranikam ivaidha yatyataha. So he chooses, because this devatas are supposed to be Sattva Pradhan. No, Swamiji, the devatas always are only enjoying in the heaven. See, that is one depiction given for a particular purpose, to make us understand that the creation, even if you attain Devata Sloka, even if you attain Indra's position, you will still remain insecure. So why do you want only that? That's not the goal of life. Realize the Atma, knowing which everything is known, nothing more remains to be gained. You feel Purnata, Paripurnata. Otherwise one thinks that I will do sadhana, I will attain punya, then I will go to heaven, I will enjoy much more. And then what happens? Kshine punya martya lokam vishanti. it is for that description is given. Otherwise, if you see Vedic description of Devatas, they are very meritorious beings. They have done lot of sadhanas here, and they are phenomenal forces who are governing the Srishti. So they are doing work also. Bhagavan only appointed them. And these Devatas also are setting that example that higher you rise, higher responsibilities also will come to you. Yes, you may have some more enjoyment, but Vedas don't describe them as bhoga pradhan. The Devatas are only enjoyment oriented, they don't do any tapasya. Look at the Asuras, they are directly doing tapasya and they are pleasing Bhagavan and then they are getting the boons also. But see the difference also, even if they are getting boons, the mind is not pure enough, Sattva Guna is not there. So they are asking boons to destroy themselves only finally, or their, kula, and their family and their kingdom and all that. Devatas actually are enjoyment, not enjoyment oriented. One part of their life is enjoyment also. But somehow their stories, they appear to give us this impression. Devatas are only enjoying all the time. And they appear to be weak and they keep running to Bhagavan Vishnu whenever Asuras attack them. So one has to take this in a context, why that is done. Is to induce Vairagya and is to make the person understand that even in Swargaloka there is no Purnatvam, which applies even here. Again, it is not to generalize, there can be enough and more wealthy, prosperous people who are fulfilled, happy, anchored within. And there could be opposite also, everything is there and yet Shanti is not there, Ananda is not there, fear, insecurity, tension, anxiety, all that clouds the mind. And same applies opposite. There may be very, very humble, economically, very, challenged people, but happy because of contentment, because of love, because of various other things. And there could also be people who are in that also suffering, not happy at all with that state. So definitely that is subjective based on one's mind, no doubt. But the point to understand is what? For a student of Atma Gyan or even a bhakta who wants to be one with Bhagavan, Vairagya is very important and one sees, because somewhere the conditioning is more money is equal to more pleasure and happiness. More power is equal to more pleasure and happiness. And so one is running behind money, power, position, name, fame and getting it somehow. And weird things happening in the world just for name, fame, money, power. So to awaken, to shake up the mind, ki you are a human being and you have this special privilege and capability ki you can consciously turn your senses and mind within and you can realize the truth. Why are you wasting time in running behind temporary things? However glorious heaven may be, it is still temporary. Fulfillment won't come. So that's why he says here कि Bhagavan prefers the Sattva Guna, the Deva Yoni, because through that he is setting the example for people कि follow Sattva Guna because that's the route, exit. See these three gunas which are there in Maya, two gunas bind and pull down. Tamas is no thinking, ignorance. Rajas is wrong thinking, delusion, moha. And Sattva is right thinking. This Rajas and Tamas, non-apprehension, misapprehension and right apprehension. This non-apprehension and misapprehension will bind. right apprehension will liberate. So one who cultivates Sattva Guna more will experience that oneness. For that, to demonstrate that, Bhagavan as though takes the side of the Devatas. So now you see here, that's why he says this. Now to illustrate this very fact, Shukadevji says that in the past, Naradji was asked one question by Yudhishthir. He says, I will explain this principle through this story. And so he says this, that Rajasuya Yajna was done by Yudhishthir. And in that Rajasuya Yajna, the worship of Bhagavan Krishna was being done. So Shishupal and Dantavakra, they are very upset. They anyway have dvesh towards Bhagavan from childhood. So they did not appreciate this. Because they thought, why he is just a cowherd boy and why are we worshipping him and we are so great, powerful, all that. So, then we know that he kept insulting Bhagavan. So Yudhishthir's question is that in that Sabha, this person, Shishupal, openly is criticizing Bhagavan for no fault, simply abusing him, and Bhagavan waited. His 100 transgressions, Bhagavan had said, I will forgive. So when 100 got over, he took out his Sudarshan Chakra, beheaded him. So when he was beheaded, he merged with Bhagavan. Now everybody is seeing, and Yudhishthira is specifically asking Naradji. So now the next portion is from that. Yudhishthira is asking question 15th verse onwards, where he says that even big yogis don't attain this oneness with Bhagavan. How did the Shishupal attain this oneness? When he in fact is somebody who did the aparadha of condemning Bhagavan. He considered Bhagavan as his enemy, he had dvesha towards Bhagavan, he used inappropriate words, not once, twice, 100 times. So he says that I want to know why he became one with Bhagavan. When tapasvis, yogis, sadhus, bhaktas, they are doing so much tapasya and they are still not able to experience oneness, why is this? It's very interesting now. This question that Parikshit Maharaj asked was about why Bhagavan is partial to the asuras, devatas. Why he supported Indra and this Vritrasura was killed. In answer, Shukadevji is he gave the principles and then he is saying I am narrating this through example. In that example it appears that Bhagavan is favoring Asura. Shishupal became one with Bhagavan and Bhaktas are struggling. Which is also to show that what was said earlier is applicable. Ki Bhagavan is not favoring and not favoring. There is a purpose behind each of these and that is getting fulfilled. Which ultimately finally will culminate in realization of oneness. That one should not forget that main purpose. So he says that the sinful Shishupal and Dantavakra, they were criticizing, they became one with Bhagavan. And what do our scriptures say? Shapator asakrit vishnum yad brahma paramavyayam shvitro na jato jihvayam nandham vivisha tustamaha. See, Vena Raja, when he was not even a believer in Bhagavan and he was doing all adharmic things, the Brahmanas, they killed him because he was torturing the Praja also. with all his adharmic things. And this Shishupal Dantavakra also are like that, where they are completely against Bhagwan. And so when somebody becomes like that, see, someone who is searching for a valid, satisfying answer to the quest that, who, from where this whole Srishti came, who is the creator behind this. And if they get the answer, there is somebody who is up in the heaven and he created, to a logical mind it may not appeal and may even refute that and may say I don't agree, may disagree on it and may even express it strongly. That is one way. But there are people who outright will criticize, condemn, abuse, brand you as some, somebody who is not conforming to our path. So we'll say you deserve to be killed. Those are extreme. Here he is saying that somebody who criticizes like this, why, Shastra will say that such people, they will have this white leprosy. Even as they blasphemed Bhagwan so many times, why did nothing happen to them? In fact, not only nothing happened to them, they became one with Bhagwan. Their tongue did not have a problem, their body did not have a problem, they did not even go to hell. Pashyatam sarvalokanam layam iyatu ranjasa. They became one with Bhagwan. Everybody is seeing in the Sabha. He was beheaded and as though he became one with Bhagwan. The Atma Jyoti went and merged with Bhagwan as though. So he is saying this is very strange. And he says, my mind is wandering at this point. Just like the flame, when there is a lot of wind, will flicker. He says, now this doubt has come in my mind that how come he got oneness? Then what is the use of all our, study, sadhana, trying to make the mind sattvic and calm and quiet? Many people say that, that to kill Ravana, Bhagwan Ram himself had to come. So let me become Ravana. Because of me, Bhagwan will take avatar. Somebody told that to Gurudev. He said, to kill a mosquito like you, Ramji doesn't have to come. He can send just anybody and by his will only you will finish, you will die. So the point is, we should not take that wrong message out of this, saying that, acha, to kill Shishupal, Bhagwan took avatar. So let me become Shishupal type. So at least the Bhagwan will come and then everybody will have benefit of Bhagwan's avatar. That wrong decision one should not take. The point here is that how did he become one? That is the question of Yudhishthirji. So he says, you please tell me. So now Shukadevji is narrating what reply Naradji gave to Yudhishthir. So he says that Naradji was very happy that this question was asked, and so he says to Yudhishthirji that body comes into being because of ignorance only, because we forget who we are. Then this body comes into being. Nindantastava satkaran Nindantastava satkaran yakkarartham kalevaram. Pradhana parayo rajan avivekena kalpitam. Aviveka, because of lack of discrimination, because we don't know real, unreal, we have that ignorance, then this body has come into play, and this body is what combination of Purusha and Prakriti. For experiencing some karma, one has taken this form. In that all the pairs of opposites will be there, praise and criticism and success and failure, heat, cold, joy, sorrow, all these pairs of opposites will be there. For whom? For somebody who is identified with it. If I am not identified with it, and that's the power of human being. Yes, I have taken a form because of ignorance, I didn't know, so I am now in this state. Now what to do? Majority will live like this only and die, missing out the whole precious opportunity. Very interesting it is now that what the Shastra is saying and what we are thinking, sometimes actually our thinking should be in alignment with Shastra. But what do we value? We think that if I don't earn power, I miss some opportunity. If I don't get applause, praise, support, certain types of awards in the world, I missed an opportunity. Popularity, I missed an opportunity for that. All that which is perishable, we think that is more important, and human life is precious opportunity to gain all these things, and if we miss, then there is a FOMO of it. The seeker doesn't bother about that. Seeker says this is the joy of missing out all that because one has seen through it, not because of escape or not because one is not capable of it. And said, I don't want to apply my buddhi for that. I will apply for subtler things and come to wake up and realize the truth that everything is one divine. That capability is only in human being, and that is the preciousness of human birth, that one should not miss out. So that's why he says that those who are identified, for them this praise and criticism applies. So identification with the body then appears in the mind of the living being, the differentiation in the shape of I and mine, and then from there this whole raga, dvesha, sukha, dukkha, all that will arise. If one is not identified with this, no problem at all. And so what he goes on to say, that Bhagavan is not affected by, because he is seated above all this. And it is not that he felt the dvesha towards this Shishupal and out of dvesha he killed him. He killed him because that was karma. And he has to give karma phala. Hence he says here that there is no such false identification in Bhagavan Krishna, that he feels I am the jiva and I am being criticized and I have felt hurt and so I killed. There is no such thing in him, because he is universal in his nature as consciousness and he is one. Then on what ground is the violence justified? If everything is one, so that is the question here. On what ground then can violence be ascribed to him who was indeed the chastiser of his foes? So this violence is not born out of dvesha. This is just the karma phala that has been given. There is a difference in that. And he says that because he is supreme, he is one, he is the Atma of all, and his nature is paripurnata, which is what we are seeking. Because we have forgotten that, we have come in this form. The solution is to be one with him in the non-dual way by gaining the knowledge of Sachidananda. For that, one path is Advaita, contemplate on the nature of Atma as Sachidanand. Other path is Sharanagati. Beautiful shloka 25, where he says, Tasmad Vairanu-bandhena nirvairena bhayena va snehat kamena va yunjyat kathanchin nekshate prithak. Through any of these methods, come to see oneness with Bhagavan. What are these methods? Vaira, Anubandha, one Bhaya, Sneha, Nirvaira, Kama. So many methods are given through which one will engage the mind in Bhagavan. And what one continuously entertains in the mind, one will transform into that, as well as one will imbibe those qualities of that. That's how the transformation will happen. Atmabodh Shankaracharya ji gave the example of Kita and Brahmara. So his worm is brought by the wasp, put in the hole, and the wasp goes on stinging that worm, and every sting, that excruciating pain the worm is going through. So when the wasp goes away also, the memory of that pain is so strong that this worm goes on thinking of the wasp only. Okay, now I'm being stung, now I'm getting the pain. Sometimes it is actually stinging, and sometimes it is only the memory that this worm is reliving and getting, shocked. When this process goes on, Kita Brahmara Yoga it is called, slowly that worm has transformed into a wasp. That's why he is saying here that in whichever way one can fix the mind. So if you think about it, bhakti is not the only way to fix the mind in the Supreme. So many other ways are given here. And what are those ways? What we saw. Vaira, Anubandha. So he says through constant enmity, or through bhakti, devotion, or through fear, or through affection, or through love, friendship, so many ways. You put the mind in Bhagavan. Yunjat. And then he gives examples of people who have done this. What are those examples? So before he goes on to so he gives that worm and wasp example. That is this. Kita peshas krita ruddha kudyayam tamanusmaran samrabha bhaya yogena vindate tat sarupatam. Becomes one means become, in that example that worm will become wasp. So he says, Evam Krishne Bhagavati Maya Manuja Ishware. One who has bhakti like that, constantly thinking of Bhagavan, through whichever bhav, but Bhagavan is occupying the mind. So Vairena, now he gives example. Vairena Puta Papmanaha Tamapura Nuchintaya. So with enemy, with the bhav of enmity, if one fixes the mind on Bhagavan, the mind will have more capability of engaging in thinking of Bhagavan, because dvesha is more powerful in certain ways, where one is thinking of the enemy, thinking of plotting downfall, always insecure about it, jealous about it. There are many things that arise. He says that bhav, if vairi bhav one has, then fixing the mind on the Almighty Lord through all of this, hatred, fear, attachment, and as well as devotion, and getting rid of the sin which is barrier between us and the divine, many have attained union. Then he starts giving example. So he says the gopis of Vraja, they attained him through kama. Kamad, dveshad, bhayat, snehad, yatha bhakti, ishware manaha. So he says gopyah kamad. Gopis by kama, they considered him as their beloved, as their husband also. Gopis through kama. Then Kamsa through fear, Shishupal and other kings through hatred. See, the Kamsa and Shishupal, both of them are given for different example. Kamsa is for fear. He was constantly scared. When is that 8th child going to be born? I am going to die. I don't want to die. Fear. And this Shishupal out of hatred. He was jealous. And he kept on criticizing Bhagavan. So Shishupal out of hatred. Then the Vrishnikula, by their kinship, by their sambandha. Then Pandava brothers, he is telling, Naradji is telling Yudhishthira only, all of you Pandavas, through attachment to Bhagavan. Snehad Yuyam, Attachment in the sense out of love for Bhagwan, love here. And bhaktya vayam vibho. He says, Naradji says, rishis like us are fully devoted, ananya bhakta. So through all these ways, beautiful line comes here is, Katamopi na vena syat panchanam purusham prati. None of this will be wasted. They will all lead to oneness. Hence the conclusion is, Tasmat kenapi upayena mana krishne niveshayet. Any method, just engage the mind in Krishna, that's it. If you don't like the devotion path, hate him. If you don't like that path, be scared of him. If you don't like that path, build friendly relations with him. Whatever bhav, but the mind must be filled with Bhagwan. Then what will happen? Oneness with Bhagwan will happen. So for today we will stop here and we'll continue further next class. Any questions for today? Alright, so we do the Arati. Okay, there is one question. Okay, yes.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Yeah.
Yeah, wherever we work in office, organization, family, friends, there will be all three guna type people will be working together. So as a sadhaka, we want to work in harmony and with maximum of sattva guna. But others may not think same way, and it becomes very very difficult for a sadhak to perform the day to day work. And as a sat dominant person thinks, do your best and leave the rest. But that also bothers other people. So what should sadhak do? Not do not feel sad about it. Surrender to Hari is the only path. Uh,
So that is
and
one
per-
part.
huh, and person situation will change. We think that way, and then to fulfill the goal of the day. But if they don't cooperate at all, and then work is not accomplished, or no, the whatever the agenda we have for the day doesn't get fulfilled, then every person in the organization, office, or the other people are suffering. So, how do we think about this, and how do we accomplish goal for the benefit of all?
See, the point is one has to do one's duty and without feeling raga and dvesha. If work is suffering, people are suffering, people will also see it. Try through other methods to inspire. If one is telling them it doesn't work, through other methods, other people, if one can inspire them to follow for the benefit of everyone, including themselves, one has to show them why they have to do this. And if it works out well, very good. If it doesn't work out, one may have to leave it to them. Their karma will take care of them. What one has to do in one's own sadhana internally, one should not compromise in that part. And baki time will take care of it, because certain things can't be changed forced by force. In time, their own karmas, when they will mature, they will understand. Maybe they have some hard experiences. Maybe they need to go through that for them to evolve. So one has to figure out those things. Internally, yes, surrender is the method, and externally do the duty. How much Bhagwan tried to change the Pandavas? Did they Kauravas? Sorry, did they change? They didn't.
No.
And as a result, what had to be done had to be done. And if it is a duty to cut off, one has to cut off. If there is a duty to take some assertive stand, take some hard stand, one has to do. One has to do, but without any dvesha. That's what Bhagwan is telling Arjun. No.
Hmm.
So in the samsara that is going to happen. Based on my duty, I have to do what I have to do.
So
If
ultimately, we live as a Hari Ichha, like, whatever his wish will happen. I tried my level best, like
bus,
that.
that's all. Finally, one has to leave it at that only.
Yeah. Thank you, Hari Om Swamiji.
Yes,
Hari
Nilamji.
Om Swamiji. Swamiji, you just said that we need to create a bond, whether it's out of love or anger or whatever. So my question to you is that so this bond we build with the sakar, or we talk to our inner higher self, do a conversation with it, loud or manda, or how? I mean, what kind of bond with whom am I supposed to build when we say Bhagwan?
Bhagwan means Sagun Sakar mainly
Hmm.
because Sambandha can be done with Sagun Sakar. It
Okay.
cannot be done with Sagun Nirakar as a bond in this way because emotions are required to be anchored. Then Sagun Sakar is required. If Param Vairagya is there, then only Sagun Nirakar or Nirgun Nirakar sadhana can happen. And if Param Vairagya is there, then this is not required. Then the path is different.
Correct.
What was said earlier of turning within and staying as the Sakshi and all that. But majority won't be able to do. So that's why Nama Rupa is required. Sagun Sakar Upasana. And so choose one of the forms of Ishvara, build the bond, choose the name, form and Sambandha. Then the mantra. And then the conversation also you are doing is with Bhagwan, who is your inner self anyways. It's
Mm-hmm.
not that that Ishvara is somebody else. No, that anyway is your inner self only and the conversation you are having is with that Ishvara only.
Correct.
So that will help to then anchor and at some point Bhagwan only will induce that Vairagya also and take you from form to formless.
Swamiji, one more question. Swamiji, earlier, I don't know, something you said that was in some time back, but the prompt that which came in my mind was about the war which is going on. So, something you said, which you said is also the karma of of everyone that this circumstances like these kind of circumstances come up. So, can you just elaborate a little on that, please?
So it is a collective karma. No? Every karma that we do is not just individual karma, it is collective. Now if this experience is happening right now, it is a karma of all of us put together, then only the experience will happen. Otherwise it won't happen. So it applies to not only war, it applies to every single karma is an expression of the individual karma put together at a collective level and collective karma affecting the individual. It is mutually connected. Part and the whole connection is like that only. That parts make up the whole and the whole affects the parts. So karma is like that where the individual karma of the people it is. So then they also have karmas with other beings. Then that is called collective karma. So based on both these, people are born in certain places, in certain environments, with certain ideologies, and then certain, you know, mindsets, and then good also happens based on that. War also happens based on that. And so
But
one has to be clear that this is not a justification of doing anything in the world. This is to understand that I have a responsibility as a human being that I am a part of a whole system and every single part can affect the entire system. Like in a machine, one
mm,
small nut goes loose, the whole machine will not function properly. So each of us has to act responsibly. And
mm,
having done our best, then we can't do anything beyond that. Then don't have to worry about it. Then deal with it, whatever the consequences, with as much equanimity and surrender. And I understand even if there are difficult times, some negative karmas are getting exhausted. If I have to revolt against some oppression, that also has to be done as a part of the duty only.
mm,
But without losing faith in the divine. One should not think that if things are going wrong, that means there's nothing called divine. There's no higher power. No, there is. Anchoring in dharma, anchoring in deeper values of, universal values, and surrender to Bhagwan. By Bhagwan, I mean whatever may be the understanding of the absolute truth. In anchoring in these three, one needs to act. Then future is set appropriately. And even the present, one will have strength to deal with that if one is anchored in these three.
yeah, correct.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Hari Om.
प्रीतम की मंगल प्रीति रीति धूम की मंगल कांति हसनी दसनन की मंगल मुरली दीना धुन की मंगल आरती मंगल बणिक त्रिभंगी हरि की मंगल सेवा सब सहचर की मंगल सिर चंद्रिका मुकुट की मंगल छवि नयन में अटकी मंगल आरती पभी अंग अंग की मंगल गौर श्याम रंग की मंगल अति कटी पियरे पट की मंगल चितमणि नागर नट की मंगल आरती मंगल शोभा कमल नयन की मंगल माधुरी मृदुल पैन की मंगल वृंदावन मद अटकी मंगल क्रीडन जमुना तट की मंगल आरती मंगल चरण अरुण तरुवन की मंगल करणी भगति हरिजन की मंगल जुगल प्रिया बावन की मंगल श्री राधा जीवन की मंगल आरती प्रिया प्रीतम की मंगल प्रीति रीति डोल की मंगल आरती मंगल आरती राधा वर कृष्ण चंद्र भगवान की जय। ओम न तत्र सूर्यो भाति न चंद्र तारकम नेमा विद्युतो भान्ति कुतोऽयम् अग्निः तमेव भान्तमनुभाति सर्वं तस्य भासा सर्वमिदं विभाति। सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की।
ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।